What's going on, guys? So now that I've had a week to spend in this 2019 RAM Powerwagon, I've definitely figured out the things that I absolutely love about this truck, as well as some of the things I think they probably could have done a little bit different. But again, everything's related to your own perception. So things that I may like or dislike, you may like or dislike as well. And the great thing about having your own opinion on something like this is that it doesn't have to be the same as someone else's. So hang tight, let's check this thing out. First and foremost, I love the look of this truck. I absolutely think it is probably the most aggressive, serious, and best-looking stock truck that you could buy. And hands down, I have gotten more compliments on this truck than any other vehicle that I have reviewed or test-driven. So I have to give it to Ram for really making this thing look aggressive, especially with the nice Powerwagon logo going down the side, the really aggressive tires, just the whole look, the blacked-out grille, and the winch up front. This thing absolutely looks intimidating. And I love that about this truck. Next, I absolutely love the fact that they include a Warn Xeon 12,000 pound rated winch integrated into the front bumper with a really nice fair lead that kind of supports the cable and looks really good. I also love the use of the LED lighting. The LED lights on this truck, as well as the accent trim, simply look amazing, and they nailed it. I love the fact that they put front and rear parking sensors on this truck, and they put a lot of them as well, so you can really tell if you're close or far away from something. I also love the fact that they have cameras all over it, 360-degree cameras. It has a really cool off-road front-facing camera, so if you're going to be going over some really extreme angles, you can see over them before you can physically see over them. I absolutely love the Goodyear Wrangler tires that they put on here. They are 33 inches tall. I kind of wish they went with a 35-inch tall tire, but they still look pretty nice, and they are very aggressive and grippy. I love the suspension that they've included on this truck, as well as the front disconnect sway bar option and the front and rear locking differentials. I love that this truck is available with the Ram boxes as well. Because of the relatively low cargo capacity of this truck, you really don't have to worry about a fifth wheel or gooseneck hitch, simply because you really don't have the cargo capacity to support it. So having Ram boxes aren't really going to interfere with a hitch that you're probably not going to use. I do love the fact that it comes with a 2.5-inch receiver in the back, so you can put a standard receiver. Even though the tow numbers on this are 10,350 pounds, you're not going to be towing anything incredibly heavy, but it's likely you probably have a 2 or 2.5-inch hitch that would go into the receiver, so it's good to have the 2.5-inch receiver, as well as the slow opening tailgate is also very nice. And of course, you have the rear camera back here as well, and all your parking sensors. I also love the fact that they use all LED lighting, your reverse lights, your turn signals, your brake lights, everything in the back is LED, and they do a really good job, including your high center mount light up there, which is also LED, and it has a camera integrated into it as well, so you can see what's in the bed of your truck. And that can come in really handy if you're hauling maybe dirt bikes, something back here that you just want to check on if you're going on a long trip. I love the convenient way you get access to the tailgate. You simply press this down right here, and then you can hop up to your tailgate using it whenever you're done. Just push it out of the way, and it tucks under the truck. And I love the fact that they have power spot mirrors. So they have the power main mirror and also the power spot mirror, and I think that is absolutely a fantastic option. I think I've said it 100 times. I really love the 12-inch display. A lot of technology here. Now, this is kind of a love-hate thing, though. I love the display, but at the same time, I kind of wish it was smaller, because it's a large area to reach across and a lot of stuff going on this screen. It looks incredibly advanced. If you get this in your truck, I really doubt you're ever going to regret getting it, but at the same time, it's just a lot of information. I love it when it's in navigational mode, because it gives you just a ton of visibility of what's going on the map, as well as other things that you might want to look at on the screen. But it's absolutely a beautiful layout, coupled with the fact that this dash is simply gorgeous. They've done a phenomenal job in these new Rams, making them look amazing. They just absolutely have nailed it, and it is by far the #1 interior of any of these trucks I've been in. So I love the interior of this truck. I know I mentioned it before, I absolutely love your four-wheel drive controls that you get as well. You get front and rear locking differential, you get a sway bar disconnect, downhill assist, as well as your four-wheel drive shifting on the floor, which is also awesome. I'm also a big fan of the 6.4-liter Hemi under the hood here. This thing absolutely sounds amazing, and it provides the perfect amount of power you would expect from a truck like this. I don't really think you need a diesel option in this truck, simply because it's not necessarily going to be towing heavy, and you won't really need that extra torque that a diesel is going to give you. And I absolutely love the storage compartments that they give you under your back feet. So these are able to be filled with ice. You can fill them with really whatever you need because they're protected from the outside elements. And that is just a very cool cargo spot that Ram has been putting in their trucks for quite a while. Now let's talk about some of the things that I don't really care for. So right off the bat, the fuel economy numbers are pretty bad. I have been driving this truck what I would consider to be kind of an average way. I don't necessarily think I've been hot rodding it or, hard accelerating it. I've been driving it pretty typical to what I think an owner might be driving it as. And so far, I've been able to get around 11.5 to 12 miles per gallon. So it definitely does like to consume some fuel, especially in the city. Now, I'm sure you're going to have much better results if you're on the highway, but in the city, in roughly 100-degree weather, I'm getting about 11.5 to 12 miles per gallon. And even though I am a huge fan of the Power Spot mirror, I am not a fan of the mirror assembly in general. I really wish they would have made this assembly so it slides in and out versus flips down, because I tried to drive it with the mirror flipped down for a while just to see if I could get used to it. And it created such kind of a disconnect between the spot mirror and the main mirror that I had to flip them up, because that gave me a much more comfortable view of what was going on next to the truck in retrospect to the side of the truck in general. So even though I absolutely love the Power Spot mirror, I really wish that these mirrors were always in the up position and just gave you the ability to slide them in and out. Now, some people will claim that when they're down, you get more visibility on top of the mirror, which I don't necessarily think is quite as important as having your blind spot visibility, especially if you're going to be towing. Now, I am not a big fan of the cargo capacity of this truck, being only 1,126 pounds. And I know there are some other trim configurations where that number can go all the way up to about 1,500 pounds. But for a 3/4 ton truck, I really feel that the payload capacity on this specific truck should really be in the 2,500 to 2,700 pound range at minimum, just because of the fact it is a 3/4 ton truck. And from a towing perspective, I do like the fact, again, it has the 2.5-inch receiver, but I really wish that this truck had a towing capacity closer to 12 to 15,000 pounds, because I think that would make more sense, especially if you couple that with a higher payload capacity, which would give you the ability to haul a longer, larger, heavier travel trailer. But again, you do get your 2.5-inch receiver, you get your 4 and 7-way connector for trailers as well. I love having the step sides here, but what I don't like is the fact that they didn't extend the grip area all the way back. That would have been really nice. There's several times when I've had to get out of the truck, especially if you're in a tight parking area, and you have to step on the bar part, not on the traction part. And it would just be common sense, I think, to make the traction part extend all the way to the back, just in case you have to step on a different part of this. And I know that's nitpicky, but it's still something that I would like to see, and it's a comment that I've heard more than once since I've had this truck. As you can see, we have a child seat installed in the back right now, but one area I really wish Ram would have definitely improved the dimensions is the back seat area. This is pretty much a carryover from the previous model in terms of leg space and cab dimension, and I think that since Ford and GM have both significantly improved the amount of leg space you get here, that Ram should have kind of followed suit and done the same thing, even if they would have added just 1 or 2 more inches. And then finally, one area that's just a little confusing to me is the remote start system. So you're supposed to hit lock and then hit the start button twice, and sometimes it doesn't do anything. So you have to kind of hit it slow, and then it starts. Whereas on General Motors and Ford vehicles, it seems no matter how quickly you hit the button combination, the truck will start. So that's just an interesting one. I'm not going to say it's a bad thing. You just have to know the timing, but it's definitely one that's a little bit different than other trucks that I've experienced. And you know what, guys? I know there's going to be some people out there that say, hey, JD, you had a Powerwagon. Why didn't you take this thing off-roading? Why didn't you take this thing through some really extreme off-road activity, get it stuck in mud, sand, on rocks? Well, because it's pretty flat where I'm at, and I don't have a lot of that stuff. But I would venture to say the vast majority of people who are looking at buying this truck probably aren't going to do that themselves. And there's so many YouTube channels out there that have done a really good job covering the true capability of one of these trucks in an off-road environment. I wanted to talk to you more about the practical environment that most buyers, I would probably say 98 to 99% of the people who buy this truck are going to use theirs in, and that's day in, day out on highways, on regular streets, on regular roads, with very, very mild off-roading, if any. Anyways, guys, there you have it. Overall, absolutely love this truck. It is still one of my favorite trucks, and I'd absolutely love to have one. I do wish there were a couple things done differently, even though for the most part the truck is built awesome, has a ton of capability, ton of features, and it is really a one-of-a-kind truck because there's nothing else that can compete directly against it in terms of overall capability. But that being said, if you are definitely wanting to have a truck to get noticed by, a truck that you can have a ton of fun in, this is the one you should be looking at. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you haven't had a chance, please take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up. We'll talk to you again very soon.